Hello, it's Rashmir here on a rather cold day, on a rather cold Saturday, actually, where I live. And so, for whatever reason, I seem to be in productive mode. So I thought I would record a short video. And this particular video is on why I became a coach, which is a question that a former colleague asked recently when I caught up with him for the first time in, gosh, almost 10 years, I think. So it had been quite a long time. And he knew me in a very different role that I was in, much more of a strategic role and a program manager type role. But so why did I become a coach? Well, there are a few different reasons. So the first, I suppose, is I had a couple of experiences of being coached. One was with a coach that my company was willing to hire, and I was quite lucky that they were willing to do that because it was quite rare for them to hire a coach for someone at my level in the organization at that time. And it was a communications coach. And so it was a very interesting experience. She introduced me to some models of communications and people who wrote about these kinds of things that I hadn't come across. And then I also hired around about the same time, I can't remember if it was before or after, my own coach. And I didn't know what a life coach was at that time, but essentially this coach was a life coach. And I've since come to learn what a life coach is and what they do. And this particular coach was a woman called, at the time, Ellen Goldhar. And when she got married, she changed her name to Ellen White. And she's a phenomenal life coach. So I highly recommend working with her if that's what you're looking for. You can find her online. And I hired her because she was recommended by Wayne Dyer, who's very well known in the personal development world. And I'd been reading, I think, a number of his books at that point and heard him mention Ellen on a radio show. So my experience with Ellen, I have to say, was at the beginning very challenging because there were many things that we were discussing and talking about that were quite uncomfortable for me. But she really helped me move from sort of living and residing quite protectively in my head to being much more in my heart and in my body and aware of information beyond just the mind. So it was an incredibly powerful experience, and one that led me to making some quite dramatic shifts in my life and my work. And so through that experience, I recognized the power and the value of coaching, and I really was excited about the prospect of more people having coaches at a much earlier stage of their lives and their careers, because I found myself asking the question, gosh, what would I have achieved? What would I have accomplished? Who would I be had I had a coach much earlier in my life? And I'm very impact oriented. So for me, it's particularly interesting for people that are social change oriented, to potentially have coaching or the benefits of coaching early in their careers. I think we would, as a sector, have perhaps been much more successful in realizing impact. So that's part of the reason that I decided to become a coach, and not exclusively a coach. I did a lot of consulting work. So for me, it was just adding to my toolkits. But the other reason is the more I sort of learned about coaching and did coaching, the more I realized, before I even knew that there was such a thing as a coach, I actually had a coaching ethos. And, in pretty much every job I've ever had, I've been very focused on development of others around me, colleagues, people more junior to me, for example. And I have very much this orientation around asking questions, which is only one, but nevertheless one of the important tools of coaching. So recognizing that, it was really more about bringing to the fore an aspect that was already present in me, but perhaps undeveloped and unrecognized. Another of the reasons, and there are many, but I think the final one that I'm going to share today is that I spent many years working in the fields of global health, global development, and social change. And I realized, and this is one of the things in a way that led me to leave working directly in that sector, that a big part of the challenge with many change and transformation efforts is that they're so focused on creating change in others, in other people, in other places, in other systems, in other organizations, that there is they forget in a way, or they don't take account of the fact that all change begins within. So without inner change, we cannot have outer change. Without something shifting internally, things aren't going to meaningfully or sustainably shift in the outer world. And so there again is another pointer, at least for me, it was another pointer to the importance of coaching and capacity development and building skills, capabilities, helping people change from the inside out so that they could be more able to create change in the outer world. I think I'll stop there. There's a lot more that I could say on this topic, but hopefully that gives you a flavor of some of the reasons that I coach. That's it for me. I will see you in the next video. Thanks very much.